Sports Counterpoints podcast, October 19th, 2022. I'm GB. That's Brian. That's Coop. What's up?
What's going on?
We are back.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Yeah, back at it. Sports Counterpoints podcast, where these three brothers just talk about sports because we love it. So check us out on YouTube, on your favorite podcast platform. And yeah, keep in touch. We appreciate you listening. So today we're doing the NBA kind of kickoff. The NBA season started yesterday. Warriors get their rings. They play the Lakers. I don't know if the Lakers knew that they were playing or not, but yeah. So that happened, and we'll talk about some basketball, and we'll get into football a little bit, and we'll get you up out of here. So basketball, man. Last week, like Brian just said, we had no, like I said before we got on the show. Last week we all said we didn't have any major interest in this season. That did not change for me with the first game of the season. It was on while I was here, but it wasn't like anything I really cared about. So basketball is here. I know it's a weird way to start it, but eventually I'm sure we'll all get hyped about it. Looking forward right now, how do you guys feel? What storylines are you interested in? You know, what do you think now that basketball is actually here?
Hey, B, do you want to start with the Lakers? Because that's how I'm going to start when I go. I'm going to start with the Lakers first. Well, look, from what I saw yesterday when I watched the first two quarters and glanced at the score at the end of the third quarter, it's just a difference between a good organization and a bad organization. The good organization, of course, the Warriors, the bad organization, the Lakers. And I'm going to tell you guys something. Now, you guys might not believe me, but I'm not going to talk bad about Russell Westbrook the entire season because I know these Laker problems are not really primarily his fault or Darvin Ham. So I'm really not going to say anything bad about any of them this season. This is all upstairs with the whole, I would say, decision power structure. That's Jeannie Buss, her best friend Linda Rambis, Kurt Rambis, Rob Pelinka, and Jeannie Buss's two nephews. Those are the ones who makes all the decisions for the Lakers. And before I let you go, Brian, because I got a lot I could say about the Lakers, I'm happy what LeBron said yesterday after the game when he pretty much basically talked about how the team is constructed with no shooters, no guys that shoot over 40% from three. And, we're just pretty much a bad shooting team. And, you can't win NBA titles, in this day and age, shooting bad. It worked for us in the bubble because Anthony Davis, had a pretty decent shot then. But since then, he's kind of fell off, especially shooting threes. So we don't have any shooters. It was understandable we got blown out. They made shots, we didn't. But like I said, I'm not going to talk bad about Westbrook or Ham this season because they're not really the primary focal point of the problems, the way the team is constructed. That's all pretty much Pelinka and Jeannie Buss and all them for constructing this sorry team. But Brian, anything you got to say about yesterday's game?
Anything? Oh man.
Oh no, I got a lot to say. Only a very small part of it about yesterday's game. First of all, you ain't making it all season without talking about Westbrook and Ham. Not a chance. Not a chance. Anyways. I'll definitely take I'll take the under on that bet for duration before Westbrook comes under fire.
That's funny.
You can't talk about how the team is constructed and not bring up the fact that Westbrook is the problem on that team. You trade him for, he's the second highest paid player on the team. And you trade him for anyone who has a matching salary and you're doing better. But that's not the whole point of it. I agree with you that the way the team is formed isn't made to win. But I also think that they've created a team where they are already anticipating Westbrook's absence at some point in time during the season. And so they've put a team together for the pieces that they think they might be able to get when Westbrook leaves. And you can tell that by how many point guards they have. I mean, they've got like 4 or 5 point guards on the roster between that and the G League. And that includes Westbrook. If you knew that you had the point guard position locked down because you have, a future Hall of Famer by some accounts in Russell Westbrook, you don't go out and get that much depth. That's where you need less depth. You need depth at shooting guard. You need depth at small forward where you don't have the shooters and so on and so forth. But they added their depth at point guard, which tells me that when they get rid of Westbrook, that they're trying to get people to play positions other than point guard in return. This season, we've been saying this since last season, that this season, if Westbrook was there and this team was formed, even last year, if this team was formed without shooters, that they weren't going to be able to compete for a championship. That's exactly the team that we have. And, they just added. I think we were talking about this. I don't know if we talked about this on the show last week, but the old school Lakers that weren't good. Cedric Sabalas, Adele Threet, Terry Teagle, Nick Van Exel, Alden Campbell, and Vlade Divac. They were fan favorites. That's the point, right? Is that you could watch those teams lose games, and you were rooting for them, and you wanted to see Nick Van Exel and shoot free throws, and you wanted to see Eddie Jones, and you wanted to see all that. And sure, they got great when they got Shaq and Kobe, and those teams were really easy to root for. But losing teams were easy to watch and root for and be a part of and have hope for and have aspirations for because you liked the players that are there. LeBron has never gotten that kind of love from LA, in part because he kind of came at a time where he had to replace Kobe the player and then replace Kobe the person when Kobe passed. Add AD and people were looking for more from him because of the injuries. And then you add players like Westbrook and Patrick Beverley, who people just flat out don't like. This is a hard team to even be super emotionally invested in, even though they're my team and I,
interesting.
I want to see them win.
Yeah,
sure. Am I happier if they do what the Vikings are doing? Will I be, somewhat happy about their success? Probably, but probably less so than I am about the unexpected success that the Vikings are having. Unexpected for everybody except for Jason, of course.
Yeah.
But anyways, so that's just how I feel about it. So, Jason, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
We talked about this, right? Caesars, the sportsbook Caesars at the beginning, before the season, had the over-under wins at 44 and a half.
45 now. 45.
Caesars had it at 44 and a
half. Oh, okay.
Right. Over under.
Well, I'm still taking under. Unless they make a trade, I'm still taking under. And I agree with your point, how they added, I guess, guys to play when Westbrook isn't here. The problem I have, Brian, is the guys they added. So we got Westbrook, we all know who needs the ball. You got Schroeder, he needs the ball. You got Beverly, who thinks he's a baller. And then you got all these other guys. It's like, the reason why I talk about the Warriors, why they're perfectly constructed, is because they all know their roles and they're not asking players to do what they can't do. They're not asking Steph to guard the best player, but yet you're asking Russell Westbrook to play off the ball and be a shooter, and he's not. I mean, there's a reason why.
But we consider the Warriors perfectly constructed because they won last year. Well, I don't know that they're so perfectly constructed. We can talk about them. I'm sure we'll talk about them.
We'll talk about them. But I'm not saying because they have a philosophy. They're not asking Draymond to score. That's why they bring in Wiggins. It's like they know their weaknesses and they're acknowledging. They're not asking players to do what they're not accustomed to doing. And there's a reason why last year the Lakers were in the top 5
into that team.
Well, that's true, but still, at least they have a plan. We don't have a plan.
We're 2 years into this team.
But here's the thing: when you are in the top 5 in open looks last year and you don't knock them down, that tells you right there you need to get guys who can shoot. And the Lakers,
it's not coaching.
Yeah, right, exactly. And the Lakers didn't address that. And plus, the whole Kurt Rambis thing just really pisses me off because we wouldn't know who Kurt Rambis is if he didn't play for the Lakers. Let's just be perfectly honest. And also, I don't know if you guys heard about this, maybe not, but I heard from somebody who wouldn't know what's going on. Is that he has a voice? Of course, we all know Kurt Rambis has a voice in the organization. We all know this, but this dude barged in one of Frank Vogel's coaches meetings last year and told him he needs to play DeAndre Jordan more. That's the reason why DeAndre Jordan got minutes. Vogel didn't want to play him. So as bad as DeAndre Jordan was on the court, that was all a Kurt Rambis. And I don't know how you guys feel about Pelinka, but I just don't trust him. He seems like a slick salesman to me, and he tries to sell us or the fan base. Yeah, exactly. He tries to sell the fan base on just bad personnel decisions. And I don't know if you know this also, you guys, or realize this, but half the guys are on our roster last year aren't in the NBA.
So I don't. Well, yeah, but
that's how bad we were.
But hold on. I don't want to sound like I'm defending the Lakers, but you kind of put me in a box me in a situation when you say things kind of like along the lines of, we're supposed to compare our team to the Warriors team. The
No,
Warriors are the NBA champions that have 8 years of experience with this, and the only reason they ever had falter was because of injuries. The Lakers are not there, not in that class. They're kind of early on having those levels of expectations at this point.
It sounds.
it's
It kind
no,
of
it's
sounds more
not.
like Coop
Setting
was to
yourself up
me.
for disappointment.
It sounded to me like Coop was saying more like personnel decisions in the
Exactly.
GM,
They have a
GM
direction.
quality
Exactly. If the
than
Warriors know they
anything
can't
else.
shoot, they're going to go out and get shooters.
Get a shooter,
There's
yeah.
no explanation
Right.
for the
Now,
Warriors to have
use
not have
a team
shooters.
other than the Warriors, though. Like I
But
said, you can't
it
compare them to the only team that
no, no,
has it all together. No other
Well,
team has it together.
basically any
no.
good team.
Boston's been trying to figure it
It's
out
it's
by
not a comparison.
shuffling in players
Yeah,
and out of
it's
players.
just. I think it's just
It's
GM.
not a
Kyrie
It's GM
comparison.
Irving,
team.
Kemba
Yeah,
Walker.
That's right. It's not a comparison. It's
yeah,
the
it's just
way
GM.
management
Yeah,
operates. That's how management's supposed to operate. If you see a weakness, you
No.
address it.
Like I said,
Yeah.
when there's only one answer, when you have 30 something teams, 32, what is it, 31 or 32 teams, and only one of them's getting it right. That's
No, a lot of teams are getting it right.
What
Not
are the
just them.
teams?
Milwaukee's got it right. They know what they are. They went out and addressed their
Milwaukee's
issue.
been shuffling guards and role players around around him around
Boston, no, Milwaukee
years.
got it right. They got Joe Ingles.
Where?
Their bench let them down in the playoffs. They went out and got Joe Ingles, and Chris Middleton's coming back.
I'm gonna.
Boston didn't have a ball handler last year.
Yeah.
They went out and got Malcolm Brogdon.
Like
The
I
Warriors
said,
aren't the only team doing it right.
Only one team has gotten it right and proven it, and that's the Warriors.
Yeah,
Every other team
well-
has been shuffling through them for a long time.
Let me
At that point in time, you just
rein us back.
Oh,
Give
it
me
is.
what other thoughts do we got about the league? Because we don't care. We don't cash and don't care, but we're not at all impressed by anything the Lakers have done.
No.
I think we can all agree on that. So, who are you impressed by? Obviously, the Warriors. Give me a couple storylines that
I'm
you
not
guys are
impressed with the
interested in.
Warriors.
No,
Oh.
I'm not impressed.
Oh
by
wow,
them
give me
either.
that. Well, yeah, start there. That's not what I was getting from the last segment. So why are you not impressed? And what do you think that they?
Go ahead, Jason.
What do you think the storyline is?
The Warriors. I can understand they're a safe pick to win the title, but if they don't win this year, it's not going to surprise me. I mean, they do have weaknesses. I mean, they were able to like, for instance, they're undersized and they're perimeter defenders, but it didn't hurt them last year against Boston because they found out Boston can't run a half-court offense. So they pretty much took advantage of that, and Steph Curry did the rest. So
Well, we know now they probably wasn't listening to their coach at all.
who?
The Celtics. If I'm playing for Boston and that was going on, I ain't listening to this fool.
Boston. Oh yeah, but if you had to ask me who would I have as the MVP and who would I have for the team winning the title next year, it would be Milwaukee. That's who I would have.
Oh, got
I
him
would have
coming
Milwaukee.
back.
I would have
Interesting.
Milwaukee, and I would have Giannis winning the MVP. Because
B, why?
because the NBA is all about narratives, just like the NFL. Like the MVP awards are, they're narratives. They're whoever the media likes or whatever. It's not really always the best player, but Giannis is a good story because he was out last. Well, he didn't have any help last year. He plays both ends of the court. He plays hard every night. The voters love all that. And plus, he didn't win MVP, last year, and he comes back into the title picture and leads his team to, 60 something wins or whatever. And he has, like I said earlier, they upgraded the role players, which hurt them last year in the playoffs. That's why they couldn't get past Boston. Role players couldn't hit shots. They got Joe Ingles, they got a shooter, they got Milton back, so that should help them as well. So, and people like Giannis.
Middleton will help a lot.
So,
yeah.
So I pick Giannis and I pick Milwaukee. If you ask me right now,
So that's your storyline.
pre-injury,
Interesting.
yeah, that's what I got. Yep.
Cool. B, I'm curious before you get there, like why you weren't impressed by the Warriors?
They're a house of cards ready to get blown down by internal
okay.
strife. I mean,
Okay.
they signed
poetic,
they signed Wiseman and Poole and didn't even talk to Klay Thompson and Draymond. There's no way that doesn't cause some friction in the locker room and some animosity when it comes down to it. And
there's no friction in their locker room. There's no way they could have friction.
I'm talking about independent of Poole getting a big head because he's a future star and Draymond being resented. Like I've resided myself to the idea that Draymond is gone.
Yeah, I think so too.
After either at the end of the season, they won't give him a contract unless he's willing to take a veteran's minimum, which we all know he's not.
Why would you? I wouldn't either.
Yeah, he'll want to go be a piece on a team and be the guy who helps Giannis win a third, or goes to Boston and gets him over the hoop, or finishes his career with his buddy LeBron or whatever it is. But the other thing is that like Klay is a big part of the heart of that team. Steph is the guy. Klay is a big part of the heart. Draymond's been a big part of the heart. And they're messing with the heart of the team by not even talking to Clay and we all think we know what's going on with Draymond. So I just think that the last time that they had those types of internal issues, they showed cracks, and that was with KD. And they're going to show those cracks again. And I also think there's other really good teams. Skipping ahead, I guess the guy that I'd pick for MVP is Jokic. I think the NBA.
Did he win the last two? He won the last two, didn't he?
I think the NBA wants Jokic to win. No, he didn't. He won one.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought he won the last two.
I think the NBA wants him to be considered. They like playing around the big guy. And Giannis, while really great, he can't shoot, and Jokic can. And I think that NBA writers who ultimately choose that award,
he did win the last two.
Look in his direction. He won both of the last two.
Yeah, he won the last two.
And Giannis won the two before that. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I was thinking Giannis had won the one before last year.
So you got to win in 3 straight. Jokic.
It's harder to get 3 straight than it is to get 2, and I thought this was going to be the second.
Yep.
I don't think it's going to be Giannis because he can't shoot, and everyone wants to give it to shooters. That's just the NBA storyline, as you said. So I'd pick another guy. I'd pick a Tatum or someone else like that who can create a storyline. Remember, it's not about who the best player is.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I get it.
That's
it's
crazy.
About who can create.
That's
who
the
can
only
get
reason.
the NBA writers, beat writers to fall in love with them and the story. And I think that there's going to be other guys other than Giannis that they want to give that storyline to. I do think Tatum is going to be one of them if he plays well.
This list is crazy. The MVPs. Russell Westbrook was the NBA MVP 2016. It's not even that many years ago.
Yeah,
That's wild.
Not that long ago.
Yeah, shot 42%.
And how wrong were the writers on that one? I mean,
and Harden was the year after, and
first round exit, another first round exit.
Derrick Rose 2010.
It's funny you said, well, Derrick Rose, they ought to be ashamed of themselves for putting Derrick Rose, but
he was going crazy that year. He was going crazy.
He's the only NBA MVP that will not make the Hall of Fame. LeBron had a better season. Just look at all the stats. But that's why I said that. But again, as far as James Harden,
we were just talking about how none of these guys have 3 in a row, right? It was LeBron 2, Derek, the one in the middle, LeBron 2 more. So that's why I just went back on my own thing. I thought Jokic was going for the second one. They don't give out 3 in a row.
No, they get voted for 2. That's how a guy like Marcus Smart wins Defensive Player of the Year award because they're tired of voting for Rudy Gobert. They just get voted for 2. It didn't happen.
They didn't even give Jordan 3 in a row.
Yeah, LeBron should have about 6 or 7.
They threw Magic in the.
LeBron got 4. There. Magic.
The only one that I see on here on 3 is Bird and Wilt Chamberlain in a row.
Yeah.
And then you go back, Bill Russell.
They threw
like modern era.
Yeah.
They threw Mike in there to
separate. Is Bird.
They threw Mike in there to separate Magic's 3. That's crazy, but yeah. All right, so you guys. What about? Okay, so you got that. Is there any?
Well, I got a question. Glenn. I got a question for both of you guys, actually, especially you, Brian. Who do you have underachieving this year? Like not
team-wise?
As good as people think they're going to be. Yeah, the team. Yeah, not the player. The team. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Lakers are out.
Yeah, they're going to do what you think, though.
I guess based on what standard, right? So, like if we go through and look at, I was looking at like kind of over underlines. And, what the Clippers over under is 51.5. I'd take them as under. I think anyone who believes that they're going to win a championship this year is fooling themselves. I think that they're highly overrated. Who else? It's hard to say that someone's going to underachieve without understanding the expectations that people have for them. Mavericks. I've never thought I'm not a buyer when it comes to Luka as a championship caliber player.
Mm-hmm.
You'll all have heard, everyone who's listened to this knows that I don't think the same about dude from the Hawks and dude from Memphis, Ja and Trey. I don't think those guys win championships with that style of play, based on my belief that point guards who control the ball don't win championships, Russell Westbrook included. I think people might be overly excited about the Pelicans, especially after they whooped up on the Nets. I was about to say New Jersey. So I don't know. I don't know who the most underrated, overrated team is going to be, or the one that's going to overperform. Heat, they don't look all that great.
Yeah, this is gonna be a
How
interesting
about
year.
you?
We might have to like
If
just
you want
check in
to,
every
if you
10
want to
games.
pick one team that you think is going to
I got two.
underperform,
I got two. I got two. Number one, the Phoenix Suns. A couple years ago they had, that they made it to the finals, but they had all that injury luck. Lakers, AD
Yeah.
wouldn't play. Nuggets, no Jamal Murray. Clippers, no Kawhi. What
I
else
agree
is
with
new?
you there.
And then the Bucks, they won the first 2 games, and then they lost the last 4 when Giannis's knee got better. And then last year, though, we know the West was really bad. And again, no Kawhi, LeBron, AD always hurt. Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. was out. But what I noticed though last year, the Pelicans, they're not that good of a team, but they gave the Suns a run for their money, which said more to me
lot
about
of heart.
Phoenix than it did about the Pelicans. And then they got embarrassed by Dallas last year. Lost game 7 at home by like 40 or something like that. So, and they had 33 crunch time wins last year, which means they weren't blowing people out. They were just barely winning these games. And so then you got that whole Ayton situation where they don't want him, but they didn't want to lose him for nothing. Ayton wants to be in Indiana, but he's not, and he don't get along with the coach. So and Chris Paul, he's a small player getting older, so I don't think Phoenix is going to be as good.
A small player getting
older. Yeah. And then and I got my next one. I know you might disagree on this one, Brian, but I got Chicago, the Bulls. Their over under is 42.5, and I'm taking the under on it. They won.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to win more than mid to high 30s.
Oh, okay. That's surprising. I didn't think you would think that. Yeah. So
no, they lost their when you lose your point guard before the season even starts. It's really, really hard to be. And when I say point guards are important, that's why when you have one that's a ball hog, you can't win championships. And they lost the guy who distributes and kind of makes the engine go in Ball. And me saying anything nice about Lonzo Ball means that it hurts me a little bit to say it, but he's the driver of that car. And without him, it's hard to see them winning more than 35, 37, 38 games.
Yep, that's one of the reasons. Yeah, they won 46 games last year, but I mean, the teams that they gave up more points than they scored last year, so they had a negative
DeMar
scoring
DeRozan
differential.
is going to have a come back to earth moment. Like he played out of his mind, and he's that good. But there's just a reality check that happens. The emotion is gone from getting spurned by the Lakers.
That was dumb.
Or Westbrook. It was horribly dumb, and you could tell when he thought about it all season long when he got interviewed. He's like, it was all but a done deal. And LeBron, then all of a sudden they said, hold on a moment. And then they traded for Westbrook. You could tell he was pissed.
Yeah, me too.
Me too. Me three.
That's stupid.
You made my point. You made my point. Last year, Ball, Levine, and DeRozan, they all had career years, mainly because Ball was distributing. Defense fell off when Lonzo Ball. Now they got some guy named Dunsumu, who's not really a distributor and damn sure not a defender. So they're going to slip. And also, one thing you didn't mention, maybe you forgot, Zach LaVine got his money now. He got his max deal. So I don't expect him to have max motivation this year. Along with, DeRozan, you said, come back to earth. And they got another player on the team, Nikolai Volkov or whatever his name is. He's going to come back to earth too. So yeah. Yep. I got the Bulls under. Those 2 teams I got.
Yeah, when I looked at the over-under lines, I was like trying to figure out who's going to win these games because I was feeling like a lot of them were under. Yeah. And the math doesn't work out. If you look at all the different lines and add them up, it doesn't come out to all the wins that are there. It's more than that.
They're sucker bets. Yeah.
And so I do feel like there's going to be a lot more unders this year than there will be overs. I always wonder when they do that, when they do these over-unders, how they don't even have some semblance. It's like according to them, there's 30, 40 more wins available across the season.
Right, because fans typically bet overs.
Yeah,
because they're
fans
overly
want to bet
optimistic
overs because they want to be optimistic about their teams.
Exactly. So they just bump the lineup an extra 3-4 games, and fans still take it
to give themselves a good middle.
Right.
A sharp's gonna bet the unders where possible.
Right.
There's not as many of them, and fans go and bet it, and they're willing to bet it just as equally at 45.5, which you said your line was, or at 44.5.
Yep.
Or why not put it at 46?
The
Lakers are going to win 50 games this year.
No, exactly. Yeah. So that's how it is.
They have the Bulls winning 43 games this year. Was that it?
42.5. Yeah, what I saw.
50%. Damn.
Yeah, so
No.
yeah, I don't see it. But yeah, Glenn, you got any thoughts on the NBA? Because I'm supremely not motivated in this season.
Nah, man, it's sad. But I've been like this for a few years. I can't even front. It's not like just football takes over everything. It's kind of what it is. Everything else is backseat, and then I'd honestly rather hit golf balls than watch most of these games. So I will give. I am curious to see just like homegrown stuff. I kind of want to see if the Kings do anything with Mike Brown. If they, if they can. The West is tough, so I don't think they have a chance of really getting into the playoffs. But you might be able to sneak into an eighth seed or a playoff
All you gotta do
game,
is be like
playing
10th, right?
game.
To be a team,
Yeah,
10th to
get a
be a
playing
playing.
game.
Yeah.
Glenn, you just gave
Um,
it a couple of you're giving a couple of teams that you want to see. Jason, do you have a couple teams that you want to see? Sorry, Glenn, finish first. I'm sorry, I didn't
Yeah.
want
oh
to.
yeah. No. I mean, I was just kind of looking at the schedule now, but I want to see what they do, and then, um, I mean, looking at the schedule, nah, man, everybody else is kind of like, I mean, John Morant. I'm interested to see if Memphis can capitalize on their most recent successes last year, at least get into the playoffs, right? But yeah, man, I don't. We're gonna see. What about you guys?
Yeah, for me, Brian, to answer your question, there's only one team that I just kind of want to see. I'm just interested. Don't know why, but I'm interested, and that's Minnesota.
I was
I
going to
want
say
to,
it's from, but that's one of my teams. One of the
yeah,
teams
I want to see how they look with Rudy Gobert. I don't think they're going to win a title because I just don't think they're going to win the title. But I think they have the potential to be a tough playoff out. But you can see that experience of another team will eventually take them out. But I'm interested in seeing Minnesota. That's the only team for
Yeah,
me.
that's a
Yeah,
good one.
What
20.
about
What
you?
was it? 23-16 today in their first game when they beat up on Oklahoma. And Carl Anthony Towns was 12 and what is it? What has he got here? 12-6 with 7 assists.
Mm.
Yeah, no, it'll be that obviously be a fun team to watch. Also, just watching Anthony Edwards turn into
Yep.
a future superstar is fun to watch. Another team that I obviously want to watch is the Lakers South in New Orleans, the New Orleans Pelicans. Always rooting for Ingram and Lance, and I think Hart's still there, and those are guys that I think I thought were going to be good in their roles, and they're playing them. I'm curious a little bit to see how that whole experiment goes, but like if tonight's any indication, Zion Williamson had 25, Brandon Ingram had 28. That could be a fun team to watch. So I'll be curious to see what they do. Not saying I have expectations, but I do have interest in seeing what kind of happens there. And then I will watch through headlines and occasional games on Sunday nights. I'll watch the games, but I want to see what happens with the Lakers. There was a report 3 days ago that said that they're going to try this experiment with Russell Westbrook, and if it doesn't work with him coming off the bench, they're going to look to trade him immediately. Then today, the Lakers beat writer, another Lakers beat writer, comes out and says the team is committed to keeping this team as is until after Thanksgiving to try and not overplay the trade market, and they'll take a look at it at that point in time. So not as immediate as it was. It's only a month and a half. But,
Yeah.
But it seems like there's something that's going to happen with the Lakers this year. I just don't know what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Nets, that's just a dumb team. I'm happy they got blown. Hey, that's just a dumb team. This is Kyrie's last year, and if they keep him, they're gonna lose him for nothing, which would be stupid. So I don't know why they just don't trade him, because the Brooklyn thing, we all know they're not going to. Everybody knows they're not going to win, but they have this attitude as if they are going to win or have a chance to win, and
They
that's
might,
just
yeah.
dumb. So I don't know. And
I mean,
also,
Ben Simmons did score a whopping 4 points today. So he's
man,
back.
yeah. Ben Simmons, I don't admire Ben Simmons, but I give him credit for trying to be the only NBA player to make hundreds of millions of dollars without actually playing, and he's been very successful doing it. So he hasn't played a lot of seasons, and he's gotten a lot of money. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's what I wonder. You said that if this is the way this goes, Kyrie Irving leaves for nothing.
right.
Who wants him at the price tag that he thinks he's going to get?
The Lakers will trade for him.
Trade
Lakers are-
for him. So that means if they get something for him.
Right. No, but I'm saying is next year, I think Kyrie will be on the roster because I just don't think he can just be out the NBA and not in the news.
No. Of course he'll be on a team.
Yeah.
But I think that in the end, it'll be a sign and trade because they'll force
I get what you're saying.
to try and fit him under the cap.
Yeah.
Because he wants more money than he could get.
That I didn't know. I didn't think Kyrie had a market except the Lakers, to be perfectly honest with you. So
Sure,
I'm not
but
sure.
even if the Lakers wanted him,
yeah.
I mean, I guess they could wait. If the Lakers were to wait out the season and then let Russell Westbrook go for nothing.
Right.
I just don't see them having that kind of patience because LeBron is sitting there knocking on the door saying, I want to win. I want to win. I want to win. I'm not saying they will, but that's kind of the mentality. Then they're going to probably do something with Westbrook in the middle of the year. They're going to take back contracts, which means that in order to get Kyrie or someone like Kyrie in over the offseason, they're going to have to do a sign and trade because they'll have taken on $43 million worth of contracts to get rid of Westbrook and likely more.
Yeah, and then something I heard today, which have to really take in consideration. So the NBA is actually looking at Russell Westbrook and how this thing has gone down, and we've all known about Russell Westbrook because we pretty much paid attention over the last few years. But a lot of people in the NBA are now just coming to terms of what Russell Westbrook is when we've already known. Well, anyway, the reason why I'm saying it is because if the Lakers happen to pull off that trade where he goes to Indiana, Indiana has no intentions of playing him. They're going to send him home. And
just
it's
like Kemba.
Yeah, and it's a possibility that who's going to pick up Russell Westbrook next season. It's there because he won't have a huge market. He probably won't have a market at all. So So people are saying that after he's done with the Lakers, he might not play in the NBA again, which is a possibility. And I found that like, oh damn, that's kind of
he'll play. You know where he'll end up?
Where?
Oklahoma.
Oh yeah, they'll take him back. Oh yeah, they'll definitely take him back. But the thing is, though, you're stunning the growth of all those 18 through 21-year-olds they have on that team because that's all they have is just the youngsters. So I don't know if they want Russell Westbrook to mess that whole little plan and getting them time.
Yeah, it depends on their thought process. Are they actually trying to develop a team like that, or are they just thinking we could sell some tickets?
Right, exactly. Right.
Because it's not going to have an expectation of winning the damn thing.
Right.
So
that's the whole thing. It's like he'll find a team, and if it's not him, it's a team like a Detroit or. They're going to be opening up a new arena, I believe, real soon. There's a lot of these different places. Oklahoma makes a lot of sense because it's a coming home story, and he's done a good job of making sure he spends some parts of his off season out there, reminding people how much he still loves them and all the other stuff. He says all the right things. He's a great marketer. I think he's a very solid businessman. I don't know, you all aren't in the Los Angeles area, but he owns a bunch of car dealerships, and he's got a lot of different business ventures. He's done quite well for himself financially. If the John Wall experiment doesn't work, you could absolutely see him trying to connect with PG again in the Clipper uniform and be in LA and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Like I don't think this is the last we're going to see of Westbrook. I think this is the last we're going to see of Westbrook with a $43 million contract.
47, unfortunately.
Sorry, 47.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't even want to correct you, Brian, but I just had to say it. Yeah.
No, that's okay. $47 million contract.
That's wild.
$4 million. That's the $4 million we used to be paying Luol Deng. We gave it to Russell Westbrook.
Man.
For those following
at
home.
This money is like monopoly money. Like you're just saying these huge numbers.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Ben Simmons' contract right now.
$20 million next year.
$20 million. Like we're just throwing it around. I'm looking at Simmons' contract and I'm just thinking 30 million this year, 33 million, 35 million, 37 million a year. I'm like, I just started thinking like I would never shoot a free throw. What could y'all possibly say to me to upset me with 37 million in my bank?
But that's what I'm saying, Glenn. He's owed $111 million over 3 years. So it's like, that's what I said. He's trying to be the only player never to do nothing. He's never to do nothing.
Bro, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. He's making money and he doesn't have to do anything. You know what I mean?
That's terrible. That makes it a difference because my motivation for anything y'all are saying is gone. I'm telling you now. You throw me 37,000 right now and I'm not listening to nobody. So 37 million?
I think most players are motivated by more. I think Ben Simmons has proven that he's just not.
Certainly. Whatever it is dope. I'm just thinking of these big dollar figures, but
I don't think we've seen the last of Westbrook, and I'm sure Kyrie. I think Kyrie is not in Boston. Not in Boston next year, obviously, but not with the Nets next year.
Right.
But I do think that he's on a team. I hope it's not the Lakers. The only way that you can frustrate someone like me who hates Westbrook is adding Kyrie and getting rid of Westbrook. It's just like, really.
Stop! Don't do it. Don't do it. I told you about this. Please don't say what you don't want to happen or players you don't like. Everyone
Patrick,
you said.
I said I don't want Patrick Beverly. I don't want Karl Malone next year. How's that? Can I say that one and be safe?
Yeah, you can
maybe.
Be safe
I don't know.
Yeah.
I would. Hey,
roll him out of retirement. He'll be right alongside of Kurt Rambis as a new GM of the team.
Oh man!
Stop, man.
Last question. Will both of y'all be surprised if Draymond Green got traded this year?
No.
Oh, no surprise.
Okay.
I expect it.
Okay. Yeah, I expect it too. I actually expect it.
Maybe not. I can't say traded this year, but he won't be on the team going forward. Is my point.
Well, I think he could get traded. I don't think it's a better than it's less than 50% chance. So it's not a huge chance. It's not a definitive thing, but I absolutely could see it happening. And I think if it gets closer to the trade deadline, and they realize that Wiseman has got his money and got his role. When it comes to the team, he might try and force a trade to feel loved and appreciated.
Yeah, because he knows he's not getting a contract. He has to know by now he's not getting another deal from the Warriors. It's over. So, they're paying. I mean, the luxury tax bill the Warriors are playing is absolutely ridiculous.
More than he paid for the team originally.
Yes,
crazy.
It's
$483 million.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Yeah, all those guys making $30 million a year. So yeah, Draymond is out of there.
Crazy. Word up. All right, so we'll keep talking about NBA as it's going. We'll talk about hockey, I'm sure, as we get into that too, because hockey season's kicking off, baseball playoffs, etc. But just kind of quick rundown. Let's do our little NFL recap, if you will, for the last week. What are you looking forward to this week? My team was off, so easy enough to skip past them. Bikes,
hey, Brian,
Niners,
Green Bay lost. Green Bay lost, which means Minnesota has another game up in that division, huh?
Basically a two game lead, right? And until they play the second time, they have a full 2 game lead because a tie is a win for them.
Now I know Derek and Dredd are probably pissed off, but Zach Wilson only passed. They only had Jets only had 99 yards passing, and they thoroughly dominated Green Bay. I mean, that was just
you have a good game plan. You don't need to pass.
That was just Green Bay. I was right on them. That's not good. Any another game caught your attention, Brian?
Going back to the Jets and the Packers, though, I was really, really surprised to see Deshaun Jackson go someplace different. I see that OBJ isn't going there, to see that Robbie Anderson is going to Denver. Like, there are wide receivers out there.
Well, he went to Baltimore. I was like,
but it's Green Bay. But yeah, go ahead.
Green Bay-ish.
It's Green Bay though.
That's not the point. The point is Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback. Is your quarterback there? They, in theory, were a contender. They have money. That's a big deal to the OBJs of the world, who said that he felt disrespected by the Rams offer. And quite honestly, in the trade, they could have gotten Robbie Anderson for he doesn't have a choice. Like, he got him for pennies.
Yeah, but
they really wanted to get rid of him. I thought Denver did Arizona did a really smart thing by jumping the gun before the news came out about Hollywood Brown being down for possibly the season. They jumped him on the trade before the trade market could change. So they traded for him, and then they came out with the news: hey, our number 2 guy is likely down even when the ops comes back. So anyways, I thought they played that excellently, but Green Bay, it's surprising just how much they're struggling. I think for those people who are always, Aaron Rodgers is just as good a quarterback as Tom Brady, but Tom Brady just has won championships as a filter of the team, can put that on ice, because Tom Brady has had to win a lot of those championships without guys to throw to, and Aaron Rodgers has always had some very good wide receivers, and when he lost them, he has lost a step. I mean, he went from last year's MVP to this year's not, average, below average quarterback even.
Yeah, I never bought in Green Bay. No number 1, no number 2 receiver, and plus Aaron Rodgers. That team needs leadership, and they're not getting it from the coach, and they're not getting it from Aaron Rodgers. I don't see how that team is going to be.
How happy is Mike McCarthy right now?
Oh, For the time being, for the time being, he's probably laughing, probably
Yeah, they're
laughing.
five, what, 5-1,
Absolutely
5-2.
enjoying that from a distance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
So another team, obviously, we want to talk about the Vikings game. So I think Vegas. I told you, I think Vegas has an idea of who the Vikings are. They had to win it late. They got to play Teddy instead of the third string backup rookie quarterback.
No, I think he started, and then Teddy came in after and kind of snuck it up.
I get that, but
yeah,
Teddy wasn't even supposed to be available. But Skylar Thompson was 7 for 13. I mean, he only played for a split second. But anyways, the team played a little bit better. The offense looked a little bit more alive. I don't know if that's a function of playing a not so wonderful Dolphins team, but they've got to find ways to put these types of teams under. That's a game that they're supposed to win by 10 plus points. And with comfortably, they should be running the ball throughout the whole fourth quarter because they have that. That's the same type of thing that the Bills have historically been able to do when they play teams that are not at their level. The Vikings have not quite figured out yet. And look, by all accounts, they look like they're headed towards a playoff game. I don't know that they'll win that game, but it is at least somewhat interesting. I do find myself watching. I'm glad that they have a bye week, and we'll see what happens in a week or two.
Yeah, I was right on the 49ers. I knew we would lose to Atlanta.
You said it. You called it early.
I know the Niners. This is what they do.
I didn't know that they would lose. I thought that the Falcons
would come back.
I thought the Falcons would cover the spread.
Yeah.
But I thought that the 49ers would find a way to win.
This is what the 49ers. It's not a dynamic.
Was consistent in that.
It's not a dynamic. We didn't score in the first, third, or fourth quarter. We were shut out the entire second half. People talk about, you were missing defensive starters. Atlanta's defense is terrible. There's no excuse to score 14 points against Atlanta. It's just no excuse. And between Garoppolo and Kyle Shanahan, it's just like, our offense is not. People always tell it's a good team and blah blah blah. It's good on defense, but we got a lot of starters hurt. Therefore, it means the offense has to pick it up. The quarterback has to win you games, and we just don't have that guy. And we don't have anybody dynamic.
Outside of Deebo Samuel, who do you have?
We got Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk is a better wide receiver than Deebo. Deebo's a better football player. Ayuk is a better receiver. Ayuk can play. Problem is, Garoppolo doesn't. This season, he's starting throwing the ball a little bit more, but I'll be more confident if Trey Lance was
I think Ayuk is for the last 3 seasons now has been 1 season away from being great.
No, Brandon Ayuk
got hurt last. What did he do last year?
Brandon Ayuk, the last 8 games of the year, he was killing it. He doesn't have a heartback. If he's 1,000, he's a 1,000-yard receiver. What are you talking about?
How many games they play in a season, right?
He's a 1,000-yard receiver. Kyle Shanahan benched him in the beginning of the season and then played him when he started run blocking. That's why he didn't play in the beginning of the season. He was getting run blocked. Now he run blocks, so now he plays.
Looking at
he got benched, huh? Anyways, Ayuk is one of those guys that I looked at a lot before last season as like a fantasy football player, and a lot of people were really excited about him.
Lance.
And he just fell flat.
Yeah, without Trey Lance.
He didn't fall flat. He doesn't have Trey Lance.
This Falcons team, looking at who they played and what they did, they lost by 1 point to the Saints. Yep. They lost by 4 to the Rams. They lost by 4. They won by 4 to the Seahawks.
Yep.
They won by 3 against the Browns. Like, this team isn't.
They've
lost barely. Yeah, they lost barely to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It might have. Yep. We don't know what that. Maybe. Yeah, what that play they did. Yep. And then got on y'all head. And no team scored more than 27. So
they're 6-0 against, or 5-0, 6-0 against the spread. Only team this year that have covered the spread every single game. They got the Bengals.
Hard. They got the Bengals this week too.
Yeah.
No, you said that. You said the Niners might lose, and I would when I saw what was happening, I wasn't surprised because you had said it. I'll put it like that.
I've watched too many.
A perfect game for that to happen, right?
Well, you don't have a quarterback who doesn't throw down the field. There's certain games during the season and in the playoffs, which is why I really never take like Lamar in the playoffs or whatever. You have to throw the ball to win the game sometimes. You can't rely on your defense and running game all the time. You can't use it as an excuse. They're not going to have great games all the time. And this was a Jimmy Garoppolo game, and he couldn't come through. And this, it just happens. That's why I saw it coming.
What's cool? You guys got the week off this week, so that's cool. It's not like you're playing anybody different.
No, we got Kansas City.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I know. I
So
wish y'all could
speaking of
win
that,
somehow.
we're going to run out of time, hopefully, not just, but hopefully we can talk about the Tom Brady and the Bucks. They blew up on the sideline talking about how I left my wife and kids to be losing to Kenny Pickett. That outburst was hilarious to me.
He actually said that? Like they have the
Yes.
footage?
Yeah, they have
That's
the
funny.
footage of him
Oh,
yelling at
man.
the rest of his players saying,
Yep.
I
I
did
saw
not
him
leave my
yelling.
wife and my kids to be losing to effing freaking Kenny Pickett.
Yep.
He's right.
Picked
He
it.
right. He ain't lied.
Man.
But they lost. So the Bucks are down now at 3-3. I almost feel for Brady. He looks like he's lost a little bit of step. It looks like the offense
Heck yeah.
isn't there, but it hurts when they don't have the wide receivers for. It's like one game this player's here and this one's not, and this guy's in and this guy's not. It's hard to create a consistent offense when it's a rotating cast for 1 week. The only player that seems to be looking really good is Leonard Fournette. But anyways, I don't know if you have any quick thoughts on that one. The other one I wanted to talk about with us is the Chiefs and Bills game, obviously, because that was a pretty big
Always.
deal.
Those are always good matchups.
Any other thoughts?
Yeah, any thoughts on the Bucks?
Oh no, I just picked Pittsburgh +9, and they covered the spread. So the result actually didn't surprise me because,
Not
like
if you
I
bet
said,
on them. No, it didn't.
well, right.
Yeah, but
I didn't
9-point
bet.
spread. I would have taken
them.
Steelers as well.
Yeah, I didn't bet on them, but I had them in my point spread league, and the only reason why is because Mike Tomlin. First of all, they got blew out by Buffalo, so nobody is taking Pittsburgh. So of course they extended the line and made it kind of high. It was actually 10 at game time. But not only that, Mike Tomlin does good against basic offenses, and that's what Tampa Bay has right now. It's a basic offense. He has problems against the modern offenses like what Buffalo runs. That gives him fits. But a basic offense,
everybody,
where Tampa Bay doesn't want Brady throwing 45 times again. They want to run the ball. That plays into Mike Tomlin. That's why they do so good. Even though Baltimore is more talented, that's why they have close games against Baltimore, because they want to run the ball. That's what Tomlin wants. Yeah, please run the ball. So
what about? Let's move on to the Bills and Chiefs. So
but real quick, I think Tampa Bay's huge problem. Biggest problem is not really wide receiver. I think it's because the center Ryan Jensen is gone. He calls out other protections, and the offensive line is not looking all that great. But moving on to Kansas City and Buffalo, I called Buffalo to win this game. I thought it was going to be by more than this, but Buffalo ended up winning this game. I think they needed to win. I think this was a good spot to catch Kansas City. I don't think any less of Patrick Mahomes or the Kansas City Chiefs team. I do think, though, they will get a wide receiver after this. Since Buffalo got Von Miller, I think Kansas City will get a wide receiver, sort of kind of make a chess move to play against Buffalo, because we assume that they're both going to play again in the playoffs and possibly with a Super Bowl berth on the line. So good game. I don't think any less of any of both of the teams. I thought Buffalo would win. They did. But we'll see what happens next game.
Yeah, I thought Buffalo would win as well. I thought it would be a close game. It was. I thought that I don't know if you guys have seen the little meme, but Tony Romo literally called out the score. He said everyone thinks it's going to be a high-scoring game because all these offenses. This is going to be like a 24-20 type of game, and then like literally nailed it. But anyways, yeah, I agree with you. There's nothing to be taken away from the Chiefs. They played a great game. Someone had to win. That's how it shook out this time. But the next time it might shake out a different direction. There wasn't a team who looked outclassed in this matchup. And so, I guess we all get to look forward to the playoffs, because if those two teams meet, it's going to be fun to watch. And it's hard to beat teams twice in a season.
Yeah.
Especially when one of those is in the playoffs. So anyways, you want to talk a little bit about games this week, or?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about Denver. It's over. I'm sorry. I'm out on Denver. I think Russell Wilson has a problem, and I think the coach has a problem. Russell Wilson is just not good. He just can't. He's not accurate. He was 3 for 11 in the second half and overtime last game for 15 yards. I mean, they're the lowest scoring team in the NFL, averaging 15 points a game, and the defense has only allowed 6 touchdowns all season. So they're pretty much wasting the defense's effort. That's like a Jimmy Garoppolo type thing.
Hey, man, don't you talk about them Broncos. They doing what they supposed to do.
They have the worst offense.
Discussion.
They have the worst offense in football. The Raiders
say worse. I say fantastic. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to do.
I don't think
depends on what your expectation is.
Their problems aren't solvable. I said, though, I will admit, I said they'll go 12-5. But I said if they went 8-9 and missed the playoffs, it wouldn't surprise me, because they are a boom or bust team, and it looks like this team is a bust. I'm out on Denver. What about you?
Okay.
Any game you like?
Yeah, I mean, definitely out on them. Irrelevant to who they're playing. I think the fun games to watch this week will be the Chiefs, who I think are going to put a beating on you guys, the 49ers.
You seen the point spread?
KCO by only 2.5.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it's going to be that close. But yeah, go ahead.
No, that's exactly right. I would take the Chiefs and give up 2.5 points for sure. Right. But I'll be keeping an eye on that game because obviously there's going to be NFC implications. I always want to see NFC teams lose when they're playing AFC teams. And the 49ers are still going to be a playoff contender, probably even a leader for the playoffs in that division, where the Rams have fallen apart and the Seattle is never, is in the mix only because no other team wants to seize it. So anyways, those are things that I'll be interested in seeing. As far as games to watch, no, I was kind of struck by how many of them suck. Like
I said this a couple of weeks ago, and they end up being better than you think.
But they're fine to watch. But I'm talking about you have a Thursday night game and a Monday night game. You have 4 teams playing, and not one of them has a winning record. Like that's a problem. You have, matter of fact, go to Sunday night.
Primetime games have been bad. Yeah.
You have the Sunday night games, Monday night game, and the Thursday night. All the primetime games. The 6 teams, not one winning record amongst them.
And which quarterback do you want to see the most out of those games?
Justin Fields.
I want to see Brady Zappi. Go ahead.
Exactly.
No, I am kind of curious to see what will happen with Kyler Murray over the season. But yeah, out of all of those guys, I think Tua might play this week. That might be somewhat interesting if he plays this week.
Arizona's a dumpster fire. They gave a coach and a quarterback an extension, and both of them aren't good. But Kyler Murray didn't lead them to one touchdown drive last week against Seattle. Not one. Now, that's a damn shame.
That's funny.
But from I want to see this because I want to see the results. Colts Titans might be the best matchup as far as games go. Look, they'll always be interesting because exactly what you said. When bad teams play, the overs are fun to see for fans. But there's no game that's particularly intriguing or interesting. I fully expect the Raiders to beat the Texans this week.
You expect them to cover the 7.5 point spread too?
I only see it at 7, and look, the Texans defense is really bad. They literally got rid of everybody that was on that team.
Yeah, they got Pierce. They got I bet it is closer than we'd like it to be because I'm a Raider fan and it's always like that.
I will take Vegas, and I would if I had to choose. The only options are cover or not cover. I would take Las Vegas and give the points versus the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah. The game I'm interested in seeing is the Monday night game. I'm interested in New England, the Zappi, because I think there's a legitimate quarterback controversy. Unlike Dallas, because of the money disparity in Dallas, there's no controversy, but I think in New England it would be. I don't think when Mac Jones comes back and this guy keeps winning, because he seems like I've seen him play at Western Kentucky, and he wasn't horrible, but he was at Western Kentucky, so of course I didn't see many games, but it seems like he throws the ball where it's supposed to be thrown. He puts the ball in position where people can make plays, and he's winning. So
Russell Wilson got the job.
Yeah. So and I think he's pretty much just making plays. That's what you need. And Mac Jones, like I've never been a fan of him. I never understood. He's so QWERTY, so NFL. I never understood that nonsense. I think this year has like 2 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. But this Zappi guy, I mean, he's doing he's moving the offense. I mean, that's what you want. And all Belichick wants you to do, he's not loyal to anybody. He just wants you to win games. And this guy's winning games and moving the offense. So
I think watch. What's his name? Bailey Zappi or something?
Zappi.
Yes. So I'm gonna watch Zappi and Justin Fields and the Bears and the Patriots, bro, for 3 hours.
And he's playing against.
I'm gonna have to because it's Monday.
Here's the thing. You will watch it.
Right? I will. Right. I'm gonna be at home with. Yep. Shout out to mom. I'll be at the crib with mom. So yeah, we'll watch. What I'm gonna do is bring a TV in the room and play Madden in the background because I don't want to just sit and watch that.
And people have these unrealistic expectations about Justin Fields, about how good he is and how he's just on a bad team, which is complete nonsense. He's a bad quarterback, but he's on full display Monday nights against Bill Belichick.
Again,
we'll see what happens.
We're gonna see. All right,
we'll see. Yep.
Word up. I'm man, I appreciate you guys. Always fun talking sports. We'll do this again next week for sure. Last segment, this is a chance for you to say whatever you want for a minute or so. Floor is yours. I don't know if either you want to start. Go for it. I don't really have anything today.
I don't have anything either. I just thank everybody for listening.
Yep, agreed.
And thank you guys for doing this show as
Yeah,
well.
always a pleasure, man.
All right, I won't be the outlier. I'll leave it alone for the week.
All right. We appreciate you all for listening. Check us out, Sports Counterpoints Podcast. It's October 19th, 2022. We'll check y'all later.